The crackling of the fireplace filled the living room with warmth, its golden light casting flickering patterns across the walls. Emma curled up on the oversized couch, a mug of steaming cocoa cradled in her hands. The storm outside raged, wind howling through the trees, but inside was a sanctuary, safe, cozy, and hers alone. The old cabin had been a spontaneous rental, a weekend retreat to escape the chaos of the city. She had spent the day hiking and reading, the scent of pine and wood smoke lingering in the air. The clock on the mantel chimed softly. 7 o'clock. Emma stretched and stood, crossing to the window. Rain lashed against the glass, but beyond the downpour, the forest was an impenetrable wall of black. She drew the curtains shut with a contented sigh and returned to her spot by the fire. An hour later, a faint thud echoed from above. Emma paused mid-sip, the mug hovering near her lips. "Probably just the wind," she muttered, glancing at the ceiling. The cabin was old, its creaks and groans were part of its charm. Still, she couldn't shake the prickling sensation at the nape of her neck. She turned up the volume on the soft classical music playing from her phone, letting the melody drown out her unease. Another sound came, this time a soft scrape, like something dragging across the floor. Emma froze. Her eyes darted to the staircase leading to the second floor. She hadn't been up there yet. The thought of exploring the dusty bedrooms and attic had seemed unnecessary for a short stay. "Hello," she called, her voice trembling. Silence answered. She stood, her pulse quickening, and grabbed the iron poker from beside the fireplace. The storm outside seemed louder now, the wind a banshee wail. Step by step, she ascended the creaking staircase. Each step groaned beneath her weight, the sound amplified in the stillness. At the top, the hallway stretched into darkness. She flipped the light switch, but nothing happened. "Great," she whispered. Her flashlight app cast a feeble glow, revealing dusty floorboards and closed doors. She tried the first door. It opened with a low creak, revealing an empty bedroom, the bed neatly made. The second door led to a small bathroom, its mirror reflecting her pale, wide-eyed face. The final door at the end of the hall loomed larger, its frame slightly warped with age. The scraping sound came again, muffled but distinct, from beyond the door. Emma's hand shook as she reached for the handle. It was cold, almost icy beneath her fingers. She pushed the door open. The room beyond was empty, save for a single rocking chair near the window, its back turned to her. It rocked gently, the rhythmic creak blending with the storm's symphony. She stepped inside, holding her breath. The room smelled of mildew and something sharper, metallic. Her flashlight beam caught the edge of the chair, and she froze. A dark stain spread across the floor beneath it, leading to the chair's legs. "No," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The chair stopped rocking. The door slammed shut behind her. Emma spun, dropping the flashlight. Darkness swallowed the room. She fumbled for the doorknob, her breath coming in panicked gasps. It wouldn't budge. Something cold brushed against her arm, and she screamed, pounding on the door. And then, as suddenly as it had closed, the door swung open. Emma stumbled into the hallway, her heart hammering. She didn't look back. She raced down the stairs, the poker still clutched in her hand, and bolted for the front door. Fumbling with the locks, she finally wrenched the door open and ran into the storm. Rain soaked her instantly, but she didn't care. She didn't stop running until she reached her car. She locked the doors and sat trembling, the engine roaring to life. The cabin loomed in her rearview mirror, its windows dark, a shadow against the storm. She put the car in gear and sped down the muddy driveway, not daring to look back. By the time she reached the small motel in town, it was past midnight. The clerk gave her a curious look but didn't ask questions as she handed over her credit card. Safe in the room, she locked the door and leaned against it, her chest heaving. She tried to rationalize what had happened. Old houses made noises. The storm and her imagination had gotten the better of her. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake the memory of the chair or the icy touch on her arm. Exhausted, she climbed into bed, the blankets a poor shield against the lingering unease. She reached for the bedside lamp, but as her fingers brushed the switch, she froze. On the nightstand lay a single object that hadn't been there before, a rocking chair's splintered armrest, stained dark red. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She stared at the armrest, her mind racing. Had someone followed her from the cabin? She thought about calling the police, but hesitated. What would she even say? That she'd been spooked by creaky stairs and an old chair. Summoning her courage, she grabbed the armrest and wrapped it in a towel from the bathroom. She shoved it deep into the motel room's closet, trying to put it out of sight and out of mind. But as she climbed back into bed, the unease didn't fade. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the motel's air conditioning unit. At some point, she must have drifted off because she woke to a soft creaking sound. Her heart leapt into her throat. She sat up, straining to hear over the blood rushing in her ears. There it was again, a rhythmic, deliberate creak coming from the corner of the room. Emma's eyes adjusted to the dark, and she froze. In the shadows, a faint outline swayed back and forth. The rocking chair was there, rocking gently on its own. Emma clutched the blankets, her breathing shallow. She wanted to move, to run, but her body felt rooted to the spot. The chair creaked louder now, the motion more pronounced. Her mind raced. She had locked the door, hadn't she? A soft knock came at the motel room door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. The sound sent a jolt through her, snapping her out of her paralysis. She turned toward the door, her heart pounding. The knock came again, louder this time. She climbed out of bed, her bare feet silent on the carpet. The rocking chair still moved, its rhythm almost taunting. Emma approached the door cautiously, her hand trembling as she reached for the peephole. She squinted through it, but there was nothing there. Only the empty corridor stretched out, bathed in dim light. She exhaled shakily and stepped back. But as she turned, the room felt colder, the air heavier. The rocking chair had stopped. It now faced the bed directly, its silhouette sharper, more menacing in the faint glow of the bedside lamp. Emma grabbed her phone, her fingers fumbling to unlock it. She dialed 911, but the call wouldn't connect. A distorted tone played through the speaker before the screen went black. "No, no, no," she whispered, clutching the useless phone. The sound of the chair creaking again made her spin around. It rocked harder, the stain on the armrest glistening as if fresh. And then she saw it, a figure, faint and translucent, sitting in the chair. Its head tilted unnaturally, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Emma stumbled back, her mind reeling as the figure slowly turned toward her. The door to the motel room flew open with a crash, but no one was there. The storm outside howled, rain driving in sheets. Emma didn't think. She grabbed her bag and ran into the night, the wind tearing at her clothes and hair. She drove until dawn, the miles passing in a blur. When the sun finally rose, she pulled into a diner, her hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles were white. She stumbled inside, her body trembling, and ordered coffee she didn't drink. The waitress approached her with a concerned look. "Are you okay, hun?" she asked. Emma nodded weakly, her voice barely audible. "Just a rough night." The waitress glanced at her bag, her brow furrowing. "You got a chair leg in there." Emma froze. Slowly, she looked down. The armrest, the same splintered, blood-stained piece, was sticking out of her bag. Her scream echoed through the diner.